All right, our next speaker is Tanmay Dewangan, CyVerse, and his talk is entitled Kando, an iRODS compatible data organizer for CKAN. Oh, and also this is our Best Student Award Technology winner. Take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. Today I'll be sharing a project called Kando, which is a tool that I built to help bridge the gap between fragmented research data infrastructure and powerful discoverable data commons. I worked under Nirav Merchant and Tony Edgin in the CyVerse lab, and much of CyVerse's work involves managing and improving access to large-scale scientific data sets. And today I'm here to show you how Kando connects iRODS managed data with CKAN and beyond. So before I dive into Kando, I'll quickly define two key concepts. A data commons is a collaborative platform where data sets are stored, organized, and shared, typically with metadata that makes them findable, accessible, interoperable, and usable, which stands for FAIR. And CKAN, on the other hand, is an open source system for publishing data and is used to build data commons. Many governments and research groups use it to build searchable data portals. In this project, CKAN acts as a user-facing portal, while iRODS or cloud storage remains in the backend infrastructure. And Kando helps to bridge these two islands. So, for example, imagine a researcher in agriculture who has iRODS stored sensor data from local experiments and public satellite imagery data in Amazon S3. Without a common portal, it's very hard to publish a cohesive dataset. But with Kando and CKAN, they can present it as a unified, standards compliant resource. So, as I just briefly touched on, scientific data today lives in many places. In iRODS managed collections at institutions, in public Amazon S3 or Google Cloud buckets, on local servers and archives, etc. But researchers want a unified place to discover, access, and cite these datasets, which is what a true data commons is. And Kando is designed to solve this problem. So let's look at the scale. The CyVerse data store, which uses iRODS in the backend, is incredibly massive. It contains over 270 million files, which is 7.2 petabytes of data, and it's continuing to grow. And every year, petabytes of data continually move through the system. And furthermore, the diversity of this data is staggering. Everything from genomics to climate science to traffic sensor data and machine learning training sets. Each domain has different needs, but they all require metadata that enables reuse and fast, efficient data formats that can scale. So the challenge is not just sharing a dataset or two, it's building tools that can handle data at this scale. And the challenge is also helping researchers comply with the strict data sharing requirements of agencies like the NSF, NASA, and the NIH without needing to become data engineers themselves. And also, yeah, that last number, 15,000 terabytes downloaded, is a clear sign that when data is made accessible, researchers will use it, which is where Kando comes in. So the first version of Kando focused on iRODS managed data in CyVerse. So first, Kando extracts metadata from the iRODS collections, like the title, description, authors, file size, content type, custom tags, etc. Then it transforms that metadata into DCAT and croissant metadata formats for better interoperability and discoverability. And I'll expand more on that on the next slide. Furthermore, Kando was able to convert large CSV files into Parquet files to improve storage efficiency. And finally, Kando creates CKAN datasets that link to the original files in iRODS, where there's no file duplication required. This brings iRODS collections into a fair-aligned, web-accessible CKAN data commons. So now I'll be discussing more about the metadata standards that I mentioned in the previous slide. Kando ensures that metadata is standards compliant, specifically, again, the croissant and DCAT metadata formats. These formats are essential for standardizing metadata, and they make it easier for other researchers to utilize these datasets. Specifically, croissant is designed for machine learning datasets, and it ensures that datasets can be easily understood and used by different machine learning frameworks. And DCAT is a W3C standard for describing datasets in a catalog, and it enhances the discoverability of datasets by providing a common structure for metadata. These standards are incredibly important because many funding agencies now require open, standards compliant metadata. And also because downstream tools like data catalogs, search engines, and machine learning pipelines can automatically consume these formats. So overall, by converting datasets into these formats, the project ensured compliance with international data standards and also enhanced the dataset's accessibility and usability. And to illustrate even further, with DCAT, a dataset that is published through CKAN can be indexed by government portals and included in national data catalogs. And with Croissant, on the other hand, a researcher building a machine learning model can easily understand the dataset structure and integrate it into their own training pipeline. So to enhance the efficiency of data storage, I had developed a Python script to convert CSV files into something called Parquet files. CSV files are not always the most efficient format for storing large amounts of data, but on the other hand, Parquet files are a columnar storage format, which reduces the storage space required for these datasets, data integrity, or accuracy. This conversion process is particularly beneficial for several projects like Drive Arizona, which collects high volume traffic and sensor data from roadways across the state. So implementing this conversion process makes data management more scalable and cost effective, while ensuring that datasets can be accessed and utilized more effectively by the research community. So now I'll be discussing the next part of my project, and I'll start by talking about why cloud integration with Kando matters. Many research datasets today are born in the cloud, from drone imagery in Amazon S3 to public climate model outputs in Google Cloud. And public cloud storage is fast, cheap, and scales well, but it's often disconnected from institutional data infrastructure. So integrating cloud data into data commons is essential for modern research workflows, especially for collaborative and interdisciplinary projects. So recently, I expanded Kando to work with cloud storage, specifically AWS S3 and Google Cloud Storage buckets. Kando can inventory cloud buckets, extract metadata, and create linked CKAN datasets, just like with iRODS. And this enables researchers to build integrated data commons spanning institutional and cloud sources. However, one limitation today is that while Kando currently links cloud sources, automatic Parquet conversion and full metadata standardization for cloud has not yet been developed, but it is being worked on. So now that Kando has built these beautiful searchable datasets in CKAN, where is the data actually living? This is a key architectural point of CKAN. The metadata is stored into CKAN, but the actual data files stay in their original locations, whether that's iRODS, Amazon S3, or Google Cloud Services. CKAN just serves as the public-facing catalog and interface, but again, it's not where the files are hosted. This approach ensures that we don't duplicate massive datasets or blow up CKAN storage. We simply just link to the files. And here's a diagram to show what that looks like. So to make Kando usable by researchers and not just developers, I built an intuitive user interface, as you can see here, using the Gradio library in Python. Researchers can select a cloud bucket or iRODS collection, extract metadata, perform transformations, and publish it to CKAN, all through this very simple web interface. There's no need to write custom scripts or interact with the CKAN API directly. So now I'll be showing a quick demonstration of this. So, all right. So this is, again, Kando. So this is how it looks like. There are several different tabs at the top, each with a specific purpose. I'll go over kind of each one. So firstly, the first tab is to replicate a data set from the CyVerse data store. So I'll go over here to the CyVerse discovery environment, and this is where a lot of the data is stored in CyVerse. And I'll just choose a project that I want to replicate into CKAN. So for this demonstration, I'll go into the curated data sets that CyVerse has. So these are data sets that have been published and made available to the public. And for example, I'll use this one. So when I click the metadata, you can see that there's a bunch of different metadata that's here, like description and a bunch of different stuff, and this will eventually be replicated into CKAN. So all that I need for Kando is to copy the path, and I'll paste it into here. And also you will also need the username and password for CyVerse specifically. And then there's also the option here to convert CSV to Parquet if there are large CSV files that you want to convert into Parquet. But it does take a little bit of time, so that's why I won't show it off here. And then I just click submit. So while it's doing the replication process, I'll show off how CKAN looks like. So this is the CKAN portal. This is specifically for CyVerse. Any organization can go ahead and deploy their own CKAN deployment and customize it according to whatever their needs are. So specifically for this deployment of CyVerse's CKAN, you can go ahead and look at the data sets and the different groups and tags that exist within the CKAN environment. And as you can see, it has all of the curated data sets that I was just showing off in CKAN already. And I'll go back to Kando. So it says dataset replicated CKAN successfully. So it's done, and I can reload the page here. And yeah, there you go. So this dataset has just been replicated from CyVerse over to CKAN. So it has all the metadata, description, tags, the other information, as well as the data here as well. So I'll just click on like the CSV file, for example. You can view it here or you can download it, whatever you wish to do. And then, all right, I'll go back here. So now the next two tabs are to generate croissant and decat JSON files. And again, these are the metadata standards that have a clear definition of how metadata should be, standardized and displayed. So first, I'll start with croissant. I'll go ahead and use the same path as before. So what it's doing now is just reading, using the APIs from iRODS and reading all the data and metadata that exists in the CyVerse data set, and then it's using that to create the croissant file. So here you go. I can go ahead and view it if I want to. So here's how that looks like, and I can download it over there as well. And then basically same thing with DCAT. I'll go back here. I'll use a different data set, for example. Well, what about the first one? So I'll use the first one, copy the path, and then paste again. And then very similar thing, it's getting all the data from CyVerse and then putting it instead of Croissant, it's into a JSON, into a DCAT JSON file. So there you go. It's been created successfully, and you can download it. So the next two tabs are basically going backwards. You can upload your pre-existing Croissant or DCAT JSON files, and it will use that to create a data set into CKAN. So I'll go ahead and upload a Croissant JSON file and click upload. Okay, so this was this data set here, so I'll just delete it so I can create it again. All right. So it's reading the croissant JSON file and again, just going backwards and building that data set into CKAN using the APIs. So as you can see here, it does say that croissant was uploaded to CKAN, but there are some warnings associated with the file. Not all croissant files will be perfect and according to the standards. There can be some differentiation and it doesn't have to be perfect for this to work. So again, it was successful. So I'll go back here, reload the page, and there you go. So this has been replicated into CKAN the exact same way as it was before. So, and then very similar thing for DCAT. Really quickly, I'll just show it off using the DCAT file that I just generated. And there you go, it's been uploaded to CKAN successfully. And then there you go, so that has been replicated. And then these last two tabs are for the cloud services, so AWS and Google Cloud. For AWS, you need to enter your access key and secret key. And then I'll go to AWS to show off. So I already have a sample bucket over here. Let's say I want to replicate this and put it into CKAN. So I'll just copy the name. I already put in my credentials. I'll click replicate. And then now what it's doing is it's using the access key and the secret key to build a AWS client and then using that to read all of the information in that bucket. And there you go. It says completed successfully. I'll go back here, reload the page. And there it goes. It's been successful. I can look at the data and resources. So again, here I can look at the data. I can download it, whatever I want to do. And then last but not least, the same thing with Google Cloud. Instead of inputting credentials, you can just upload a credentials file that Google Cloud provides. So I'll upload mine. And then for the name, I have a Google Cloud bucket. I'll copy the name here, paste it in, and then it should again just replicate that to CKAN. There you go. So it's been successful, and then there you go, it shows up. So I'll go back to my presentation. That's it for the demo. Um, so now I'd like to talk about why does all of this matter for researchers? Because fair data practices make research more efficient, more collaborative, and more impactful. Reusable data means less duplicated effort. Interoperable data enables new cross-domain discoveries, and standards compliant data meets the requirements of funders and journals. And lastly, discoverable data through CKAN and metadata standards helps researchers get credit and visibility for their work. So Kando helps make fair data the easy path, not just an extra burden on top of everything else. Kando is already helping research groups bridge their data infrastructure, making it easier to publish cohesive, fair aligned data commons. By integrating cloud and institutional sources and simplifying researcher workflows, it enables more open, reusable science. Next steps include support for private buckets, Parquet and metadata conversion for cloud, LLM-based metadata enrichment, and enhanced CKAN search and visualization. My goal is to make high-quality data commons easy to build and easy to use for any research project. Because when data is more accessible, research moves faster, collaboration grows, and discoveries happen. Thank you, and I'd love to hear your questions.
Do we have any questions? All right, so here's one question. What was the most difficult part in developing this?
I think the most difficult part was uh, figuring out how to use different. So I had to use two different APIs for iRODS and then for CKAN, and I had to integrate both of them so they work with each other, like in conjunction with each other. And that was a very time-consuming process because I had to look into the documentation of each one and figure out what type of like structure that API returned and how I can, change it to put it into the other API. So that like kind of conversion and converting process was, I would say, the most difficult part. But overall, I had a very fun time working on this project. I think it taught me a lot of different stuff, and I'm very glad to be able to work on it.
Okay. You had your final slide mentioned future work. Are you planning
Mhm.
to do that work, or is this going to be handed off to someone else?
So I will continue to work on it for a couple more months until I go to college. So right now I just graduated as a senior, and then I think eventually will be handed off to someone else. Yeah.
All right. We have one more question.
Hi, Tanmay. This is
Hello.
Laura. I
Mhm.
wanted to know, since you are the recipient of our student award, how are you going to be spending the money?
Um, So, I mean, I haven't really thought of it yet, or thought about too much yet, but I am working on like it's kind of like a side project. I'm trying to start a nonprofit, so that money could be used for like yeah, like the resources that I could need for the project. Like I'm making like AI stuff, like AI related nonprofit. So um sorry, not nonprofit, a startup, an AI really startup for like photography sorting and stuff like that. So that money could be used to purchase like GPUs and stuff for AI processing. I think that's where I would use it.
It's a great answer. I was hoping for Sonoran hot dogs and Legos, but that was great.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thanks.